Hi guys, so it's been approximately half a year since we set up this riparium, Blackwater Riparium. So I thought it's a good time to give you an update on what's happening in this setup and how it's been developing. As you can see by the amount of plants on top of it, it's been doing really great over this half a year, and there have been quite a few new additions in terms of riparium plants, and not in terms of the fish population, but mostly in terms of plants that I want to go through. And for those of you who haven't seen the video when we set up this fish tank, you can see the link here, but also I will provide an overview of what kind of plants are here, what kind of fish are here, how this system functions, how many water changes I'm doing, what kind of equipment I'm using, and so on. So let's get going. So this is a 150-liter fish tank. It's about 3 feet long, 90 centimeters, and it's filled on approximately 60%. Sometimes I let this water evaporate, so it goes down to about 50%, so it's half empty, half full. In terms of equipment, I'm using here quite an array of different LED lamps to cover all parts of this tank. Well, I could use just one lamp on top of everything, but it's not going to provide the same spectrum and the same angle of lighting as with these 5 lamps. Well, basically this lamp is just a spotlight lamp. It's a table lamp from IKEA, and that's clearly not an aquarium lamp, and I use it here to create this kind of a ray of light, ray of sunlight effect in here in the evening, so it only turns on in the evening when it's dark in the rest of the room. So the other 4 lamps, they are here to provide lighting to different parts of this tank, to different riparium plants that we have on top. So I'm gonna take you through the species of riparium plants a bit later, but first I'll talk about the aquarium itself. So I'm using here a 100 watt heater, so I'm keeping the temperature at about 25-26 degrees Celsius. So I have here a power head pump, a high power head pump, just to provide a bit of flow. You're not going to be able to see the pump, it's hidden back behind the driftwood, but it provides a bit of flow in here to create this kind of a ripple on the surface. Also, I'm using here a canister filter. It's a Heim Classic 250 canister filter. It actually works mostly on mechanical filtration because it's only filled with sponges of different density, and the outflow pipe actually goes in the back of this driftwood here, to provide some sort of a flow over the moss, over the driftwood, and also over the roots. You would be able to see it from here actually. So the water gets from up here, it goes through the moss, through the driftwood, through the roots of the plants, and into the fish tank. So yeah, the purpose of the canister is to remove any sort of decaying plant matter, any sort of decaying leaf litter, and to provide this flow over this wall of moss that I have in here. And basically that's it in terms of equipment. It's a relatively low maintenance system. When I just set up this tank, I used to change about 40% of water every week. Now I'm only changing maybe just like 5% once in 2 weeks, and once water evaporates, I just add a bit of fresh water every week, maybe just a bucket of water every week, and that's all the maintenance I do on this fish tank. On the bottom here, it's a layer of river sand. I used to have some Echinodorus plants in here, but clearly they didn't get enough light in here, so they were just barely surviving, and I removed them. So now there's no aquatic plants growing in substrate here, but I have here a mixture of leaf litter, a mixture of twigs from oak trees. There are catappa leaves, there are magnolia leaves, there are oak leaves, and there are alder cones. So they are at the basis of all this leaf litter and all these botanicals on the bottom of the tank. There are quite a few different pieces of driftwood, and I don't remember exactly which driftwood do we have in here, but there's probably those, well, no, I don't remember. There's quite a lot of it. So on this side we have a wall covered with moss. It's a mixture of sphagnum moss over here, and there's also Java moss that grows immersed, half submerged, half immersed, and it's almost impossible to see it here from this angle because it's kind of all inside. Here I have some lucky bamboo which I added relatively recently, and it seems to be doing great. So let's have a look from the top of the tank. Right here I have a bit of a small island. It's a fern, just a regular fern, that grows on a piece of driftwood, and it's covered with sphagnum moss on the sides. We'll try to film it actually. From this angle you would be able to see that there is a sphagnum moss at the basis of this fern, and the fern grows with partially with its roots in water, but half of the roots are actually in the fern outside of the water, so it's growing half immersed. Over here we have quite a mixture of everything. So this is a Hydrocotyle Leocephala, and it grows both immersed here outside of water and submerged in water. Underwater form, and these are its immersed forms, and you can see that immersed leaves are obviously larger and kind of more juicy than underwater leaves. Also here there's a mixture of Amazon frogbeet and some red rooters on the surface. So over here I've tried to create some sort of a quiet area that's right next to the shore of the river. There is no flow in this area and there's no water movement, so all sort of a smaller fish, they can actually stay in this area. And over here there is a more of an active part of the river with a bit of a flow. That's where the pump is blowing some flow, and so yeah, there's basically these two areas in here that are divided with a small island of fern. Alright, so over here we have Monstera. There are actually two different Monstera plants, one larger, one smaller. They grow with their roots in water. This is Phytonia actually, and I've started with a really tiny Phytonia plant, and it has outgrown in this enormous, huge plant that kind of all over this ficus and all over the place. I know that it doesn't look very nice when it grows so large. It looks a bit strange, but nevertheless it grows really well. Behind Phytonia we have some sort of a fern. I don't know what type of fern is it, and I can't remember its precise species, but yeah, it also does quite well. So in here we have some peace lily, Spathiphyllum, and there is also another one in here. They grow quite well with their roots in water, and they're flowering, and they're growing really large, because I bought these two peace lilies as really small plants, and now they're really large. Here we have Philodendron micans or micans. It's a very slow growing plant, and it's supposed to be a relatively rare plant because it wasn't that easy to find it. It has this kind of a reddish leaves, slightly reddish, and other than that it looks very similar to pothos, but just more delicate. So over here we got some golden pothos. There's quite a lot of it, but it's hard to see it. And on top of the tank we got some regular pothos and also marble pothos. No, this is golden pothos. This is regular pot. In terms of the population of this fish tank, so we have here a group of cardinal tetras, a few black neon tetras. We had a larger group, but they've been with us for like 3 years, and they're really old, and I've been losing them occasionally over a few months. There's also a group of dwarf pencilfish, Nanostomus marginatus, and they're really wonderful and really beautiful, tiny little nano pencilfish. It's hard to see them because most of their life they spent in here, among those Hydrocotyle Leocephala plants, or among the roots of this riparian plant, so it's hard to see them. We also have here Apistogramma agassizi, which are also hiding somewhere, and a small group of Corydoros aeneus and Corydoros duplicarius also hiding somewhere in leaf litter. And that's it in terms of population. So these are mostly small tiny fish, and there aren't too many of them, so yeah, they don't produce too much bioload. Well, so overall this has been a really enjoyable setup, riparium setup, Blackwater setup, and very low maintenance. It kind of takes care of itself, and green and lush vegetation on top. Really nice thing to watch during the day and in the evening. Alright, so I hope you liked this video. Leave any comments you might have in the comment section, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask them, and I'll see you soon.